thank you very much for joining me for my first Blab. I've been interviewed on Blab a few times. However, this is the first time I've run one because I want to see what the back office controls look like, etc. However, I thought I might as well do something useful. So I'm going to cover a topic. It's one that I get asked about a lot. Because people that follow me on Facebook, they've often seen me doing the Angel Tarot card readings where I'm basically doing what I call a cold reading. So often I will get a deck of cards, I'll choose 4 cards, put them face down so none of us, myself included, can see what the cards are. And then people pick one of the 4, and then a couple of days later I do a reveal and say what the card was. And what happens consistently, and I've been doing it for probably, 5 or 6 months so far this year, is people will say, oh my God, that's so spot on. It's spookily accurate. That's just where I am right now. Even specific incidents that have happened to them. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do you do the Angel Tarot card readings? What are you actually doing? And how does it work? And how is it spookily accurate and spot on and all the rest of it? So I thought we'd just do a very quick sort of 20-30 minute blab, just talking about what are the Angel Tarot card readings. I'll share with you how I do the readings so you get a sense of that, and then maybe if somebody's willing and they wanted to jump in the hot seat a bit later on, if you've got any questions, I will answer those as well. So at various points, I will take a little bit of a look as well, just to see if there's anything going on in the side. So I've got, I'm not going to move the whole camera, but I think there's like 12 decks at the side of my desk. Let me just grab a little handful of them just so you can see. And I've got a favorite deck. So when I run something called the Magic and Gratitude group, and every month I do a month ahead reading for them. And this is one of my favorite decks, the Archangel Power Tarot. Now, in terms of the Angel Tarot cards, there's the traditional ancient, I guess the Rider-Waite deck is the one that's maybe most popular. And that's what I learned with probably about 17 years ago. I first learned tarot, and I learned with the traditional deck. For the last few years, however, I've been using the Angel Tarot deck. So they're based on the original 78 card deck. However, they're much gentler images, much softer images. They've taken out some of the harsh and what you might call the scary cards and replaced them with the more angelic images. But it still has what you call the major arcana and the minor. So the major arcana is 21, and in the angel deck, 22 cards. And when you pull those cards, they normally signify big life changes, changes in direction, big things, significant things that might be happening in your life. And then you've got the minor arcana, which is just about some of those kind of transition points in life, if you like. And from my perspective, people often ask also, is it about predicting and divining the future? I think one of my clients put it really nicely. If I've been organized, I think it will be up on my screen. Let me just tell you what, because I think she really summed it up brilliantly. A lovely lady called Lisa. This is just on my website. She says, I know that you're perceptive and intuitive. And she said, so it isn't a case of the cards telling your fortune. It's about them reflecting back to your current situation so you can see clearly what areas you need to be worked on. And then she just goes on to talk about my interpretation being clear and concise and understandable and adept at picking the cards, etc., etc. So I would kind of really agree with that. And I would say that it very much is about the whole thing about it's more of giving guidance. It's more about giving clarity. And the way that I tend to work, and it's just my preference, is I tend to also do cold readings with my clients. And what that means is they think about a question or an issue. They don't tell me what that is. I do the reading for them. And then afterwards, if they want to share what they've been thinking about, they can. It's not necessary. They normally do because they're in that place of, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And the thing that always makes me laugh, and I had one particular client I did a reading for, a guy called Haroon Rabbani. Actually, I think he's on my website as well. But he did a thing where he had a question that he posed. I did the reading and it didn't bear any resemblance to the question that he asked. So I was then slightly confused. And then he laughed and he said where it was. He said, I began with one issue in my mind, but decided to focus on another issue. I was amazed that your reading was specifically answering my main intention and not the one I thought was right. In fact, it turned out the latter issue was a non-issue. And frankly, I was surprised how accurate your readings were as it pertained directly to my radio station, Untangled FM. And you highlighted some important points about leadership, staying focused on purpose, and brilliantly giving me clarity about the road ahead. So often, even when clients will say something, the reading is often about the thing that they're really thinking about. So that always makes me smile as well. So what I wanted to do is I'm just going to show you, when I start a reading, particularly like the ones I do on Facebook, for instance, I know some of my Facebook friends are on this blab. I start with the cards like that. So they're all face down. So I can't see which card it is. If I'm choosing the cards, and I just choose a card that what I call leaps out at me, if I'm, let's say, doing a telephone or Skype session with a client, they will choose the card, even though they're not here. And what I do is I lay the cards along the length of my entire desk. Again, they're face down. And then I just run my hand along the top of the cards, and the client just says, stop. And they will do that. You know, often we do a 3-card reading, you know, past, present, future, or we might be asking something specifically about a particular issue. But I will get the clients to choose the cards themselves in that fashion. And then I turn them over and I do a reveal of the cards. And people often ask about, you know, I know some people say, I'd love to do readings, but isn't it a lot to remember all of those 78 cards? And then when you've got 20, you know, 15, 20 decks like I have, am I going to try and remember every single detail about those decks? Me personally, no. They all come with a guidebook, so you can kind of see there, which is brilliantly helpful. So this is the one for the deck we're talking about today. I love the guidebook. Has some really great specific points, tells you in a bit more detail about each of the cards. However, when I'm doing a reading for a client, a lot of it is on intuition, because even though it's the same deck, I could maybe pick identical cards for 2 clients in a row, 3 clients in a row. They could all get the same card, yet the card will look different each time I pull it, even though it's the same card, because different things will stand out in that card and catch my attention. And so I always say to clients and people who are learning the tarot is go with your intuition as well, because there will be times so for instance, I've just picked up one called the Moon. This is Archangel Haniel. Let's hold that up there so you can see that, just what I'm talking about. And there's kind of 2 little animals. Today it looks like a white fluffy dog. I might do a reading for another client, and even though I know it's a dog, it might just strike me as a cat that day, or even a tiny wolf, because that's the thing that I'm talking about with a client. So I do tell the clients what it says on the cards, because helpfully, and this is a deck from Doreen Virtue, every single one of her cards has a message attached. So, you know, you get a message on the card that you can just simply read that. And often that's enough to tell you what you want to know. So I will always tell the client what the meaning is of the card. But then once I've done that, I will then look at the card and I'll see what jumps out at me. And the reading will be based on that. I'm just going to have a little look, see if there are any quite cool. We're good. And also a big part of it is on my intuition, because I might be reading for a client and then suddenly I feel a pain in my back, for instance, or something in my back. And that will then prompt me to say something along the lines of, is there something in your life that's holding you back? To which they will normally go, oh my God. And other times that thing in my back, I might feel compelled to just say, have you been having an issue with your back lately? And that's when they'll be revealed that they slipped on the ice last week and hurt their back, whatever it might be. So intuition is a really, really kind of big part of also playing with the cards. So when I get a new deck, I mean, actually, that's true for every single deck I've got, except with the exception of one. So typically, when I get a new deck, I will rip the plastic off, open the deck, have a look at each and every single card, just to familiarize myself with it. I'll look at the pictures, I'll look at the wording, I'll just get a sense of familiarity. They always come in order in terms of the suit of cards, if you want to put it that way. So if people read traditional tarot, you've got the cups, you've got the pentacles, you've got the wands, And so I will kind of then, once I've seen the sweets, I'll mix them up so they're completely shuffled. I will have a look through the guidebook just so I get a sense of, you know, what is the originator of the cards? What are meanings have they assigned to them? And then I will read them based on the client that I am reading for. Rather than trying to remember exactly what it says about each and every single card. And there are times my intuition will say, actually, do you know what? There was something else you wanted to add to this. Have a quick look at the book, see if there's something else you want to add. And at other times, I really just go with what it says on the card. So at this point, before I go on, I just want to say if anybody has got any questions or queries, or would anybody like to jump in the open seat? And I just want to see how the open seat works. Be aware, if you've got your camera switched on, you will be on camera. If you haven't got your camera switched on, we're just going to hear your voice. But does somebody, just so I can, because this is a test blab for me, does somebody want to just click on the open, because it says lock seat. I don't think I've locked it. It should be open. So does somebody want to click on that open seat just so I can see what happens? And I think then, let's see, I really hope my camera's not on. Does that mean you're going to click on the seat? Go for it. And if you can't click on it, let me know. My camera's not on. Nope. Okay, well, click on the seat and just let me see what happens. And then if you happen to have a question, of course, if you've really got a question, click on the seat anyway. And if anybody would particularly just like a test reading, just so the people who are watching can see how it works, let me know, and we can do that as well. So that would be helpful just to get a sense of. Kathy says, where is the seat? So as you're looking at the screen, there should say one that says open seat, like next to my face. Can anybody else see the open seat? Let's see. I think it should be open. Let me just click that. No, it's definitely open. So it should be just a grey square as you look at your screen, and you should just be able to click on that. And it says join, and then you click on that and then you can join. Here we go. And then my job, oh, that's cool. So I can now see what happens. My job is to click a little tick, which is cool. And then it's flashing, it's flashing, it's flashing. And I think eventually once you've got your connection, you will then be connected and we will hear your voice. So, and I know you are abroad, so maybe that's why it's taking a little bit longer, but that's basically how it works. So while that kind of whizzes away, does anybody here have a question about, you know, what are the Angel Tarot cards? Well, actually, one of the questions that people often ask me is, what can you use it for? I guess there are common things that people often ask about: relationships, work and career, next steps, life purpose, clarity around a particular situation. And more recently, because I was just curious, it was an idea that I had probably about 1.5 years ago, thinking it would be really cool to maybe take tarot into the boardroom. You know, because, you know, I started off, I was studying to be an accountant. I spent, since the year 2003 working as a management consultant. So I spent a lot of time working in the corporate world. And I just thought it'd be really cool to do Angel Tarot readings for that. So a couple of weeks ago, I specifically kind of asked if anyone on my mailing list was a business owner or an entrepreneur, and did they want to do a reading around that specifically, which was, again, amazing. If you follow me on Facebook, you've seen me put the testimonials up about that. But you can really ask about anything. There's no particular limit on it. And the thing I would say is just have clarity about what you're asking for. And even if you haven't got clarity, as I've already said, the cards would normally get to the heart of the matter that you happen to be thinking about. So it really isn't limited in terms of subject. It can be about anything. And often, as you've seen, if you follow me on Facebook, I'll often pull a card for the day. And for many people, that card is spot on in terms of what they were thinking about or what they were going through. So It can, and people say, well, how can you read? How can you do an angel tarot card reading when you've got 4,000 people that follow you on Facebook? It's uncanny. And I have an intention when I do a reading, particularly if I'm doing a group reading, like a Facebook reading. And my intention is that the reading will be right and relevant for whoever needs to find it on that particular day. And then that's, lo and behold, what tends to happen. The people that come across that post, the reading for them is right and relevant. And of course, I hold a much clearer and more specific intention when I'm reading for a one-to-one client. So someone says, Wayne Carr says, how accurate are they? And it's going to sound like superlatives, but I'm going to pull up the document. Going to pull up the document where I've just had some feedback from people from, one of the cold reads I did on Facebook. So I chose card number 3. Yep, pretty much spot on. And one of them, I think, was about traveling. And somebody has said, she says in this one, I've just made the decision to spend 3 months working in a bar in the Pyrenees. Somebody else says, oh my God, that's crazy accurate. Somebody else says, thanks, sweetie. That's spot on, as always. Somebody else says, we're both excited. The reading accurately reflects my current conflict. Somebody said, yeah, I picked the card number 2 and I'm at Glastonbury Festival at the moment, so pretty spot on. So the card must have been something about partying. Somebody says, brilliant. I feel much better. The messages for me, yay, brilliant, fabulous, thank you. Somebody else says, my God, I've been getting this message all week from different places. And so choosing to surrender with no resistance. So the card must have been something about surrender. Someone says, this is exactly where I'm at. This is just what I needed. Thank you. Somebody else says, I don't know how you do it, but your words are so spot on and such perfect timing. Thank you. And that's pretty much par for the course. Kathy, I'm going to click on that again. I don't know if it's a connection thing, but I've just clicked the tick again to see if you can get onto the seat. So I would say they are very accurate in terms of the people that I'm reading for. People would then say, well, how is it that this little deck, because, 78 it's significant, but quite small in terms of the gamut of human emotions and experiences. And that's one, I don't know if I could absolutely answer it definitively. One of the theories that I have, and if any of you have ever read anything by Carl Jung, he talks about the collective consciousness and the fact that as human beings, we're kind of connected. We all connect to similar, what you call archetypes. And these are the stories that we live our lives by. And if any of you have got a favorite movie, particularly the blockbusters, the Star Wars, the Matrix, the, Wizard of Oz, you name it, if it's been a blockbuster story, it follows a particular archetypal journey. And we all relate to that archetype where there's some sort of hero or protagonist. They have to overcome some kind of challenge. They often meet a mentor or a guide. They have to go inside and find their inner strength and resources and step over the threshold, have a sense of courage. And eventually, kind of after doing battle, whatever that might be, they come out the other side victorious. And in amongst that, the thinking is that because we have these collective archetypes, there is something that connects us as human beings, an energetic force, if you want to put it that way. And so if somebody's trying to push me to kind of say, how did you know that about the cards? That's the thing I'd have to fall back on and say, I really believe there might be some kind of collective consciousness. And that when you're all thinking in a particular way, that you almost kind of, I jokingly call it the psychic superhighway when I'm messing about, but actually it's kind of a bit like that, in that I think that's what's going on. You kind of tap it, like, for instance, the guy that I read for, Haroon, he's actually said one thing, but something completely different came out on the cards, which was the thing he secretly wanted to ask about. So where does that come from? Because it's just not based on what he said. And that's why I quite like doing silent readings, because I don't really want to be, how can I say, have my head confused with what someone's asking. I just want to just read the cards and then they tell me afterwards. But even when they tell me afterwards, it's still that thing where it says spot on. So Simply Tina says, I would like a test reading. So Tina, just type in, do you want to play with getting into the open seat, or do you want me just to do the reading just by looking at your name? So you just type in what you prefer, and then we will go with there. Oh, I like that name, Mr. Wonderful. That sounds cool. And somebody says those movies were all channeled. I will believe you. Eva. So Tina, if you want to have a bit of fun, see if you can jump in the hot seat, because actually I'm now curious about the open seat, because let's see. Da. Let me tick and let's see if it works. Yay! Hi, Tina, how are you? Wonderful.
I think
Can you hear me okay? Fabuloso. So what I'm going to do is what I do when I have a client is I shuffle the cards, just holding the intention of kind of now reading for the person that I'm reading for. Let me put my little desk cushion down. Then what I'm going to do is...
I love your accent.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, out here in the UK. I'm traditionally a South London girl, which people over here would say South London. But right, so what I'm just doing now, because you can't see this bit on camera, is I'm just putting the cards face down so that I can see the backs of them. And then you are going to, when I say ready, I just want to make sure I've spread them all out, because they do take up a fair bit of room, all 78 of them. Da, da, da.
I have a family, and I think it's pronounced East Sussex.
Okay, right. That's about, if I were travelling on the train, East Sussex is probably about 2.5 hours away from where I live, but, not that far.
Okay.
Not that far. Right, just spreading out the final few just to make sure we can see them all. Right. So what you are going to do is I'm just going to run and it goes the length of my desk, so my desk is pretty long. And I'm just going to run my hand along the top. And when you feel so inclined, you are going to say stop. And when you pick stop, whichever card is under my finger will pick it. So when you're ready, anytime now, you can say stop.
You can stop.
Okay. And then we're going to pick a second one, because this is going to be about the issue that you're thinking about and that you're asking about. And then for my purposes, I just want a second card, which kind of speaks to that issue and gives a bit of reinforcement. So again, when you're ready, you can just say stop.
Stop.
And then I'm going to pick one as well that leaps out at me. Alrighty. So, first card, the Six of Ariel. I'll tell you what it says and then I'll show it to you. It says, material needs get fulfilled in magical and unexpected ways. This is also about acts of kindness and giving and receiving with a grateful heart. So that is the card there. And it's a woman standing in like a lush field, 2 baskets, both of them evenly balanced, full of fruit. And there are baskets either side, and one of them has fallen over, and it's just about abundance. This one is often also about the giving and receiving. One of the things that kind of pops into my head with this one today is that, how can I say, sometimes people are very good at giving, not very good at receiving, but also they are scared to put things into circulation, particularly if they don't have enough, if they feel they don't have enough. So for me, this one feels a bit like flow. If you feel that you're always somebody who's giving of your time, giving of your energy, giving of your expertise, giving of your knowledge, even giving of financial help and support, it's the time to start saying it's okay for you to receive that as well. Because you might be somebody who, I can sort this out, I can handle it, I can do it. You're the one who will just kind of take it all on. And, as one of my favorite programs of the moment is Scandal with Olivia Pope. And one of the catchphrases is, it's handled. So sometimes you might be the person who's handling everything, but you get out of the habit of them being okay to ask for help and support, but also be willing to receive that help and support. It's almost like it'll be embarrassing for you almost if somebody says, let me help you with that. Even something simple like, let me take that shopping for you. No, it's all right, I've got it, I can carry it, I can manage. It feels like that kind of energy. And so this card is a reminder to be, because I always say to people, look, it's great to be it's great to be a giver. But if everybody's giving, who the heck is receiving? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Somebody's got to be on that reciprocal end. So this is a reminder about that for you. And it feels like one about self-care. The second card, it says New Beginnings. This is one of the major arcana cards. It's Archangel Jeremiah. And it says starting a new life, finding your purpose, and forgiving and compassionate review of the past. So that one there. And I will explain it to you because it's not that clear on the picture. It's like this one. It's a family in silhouette, and they're almost like in a rock dune, and they're standing, and they're in a number of different directions that they could go in. So they've got a couple of pathways ahead of them. So this one is almost about. It may be that you have got several options. It might be that you're very skilled and very talented in a number of different areas. So there are a number of ways that you can go, a number of things that you can do. And this one is saying, okay, well, what is the thing you want to do? If you were having a fresh start, because where it says starting a new life, for some people, that means they're going to pick themselves up, pack their bags, and they're like just off completely to pastures new. And at other times, it just feels like you're saying, do you know what? It's time for me to turn over a new leaf. It's time for me to step over almost like an imaginary threshold where you're just like, sometimes you just go, enough is enough. It's okay. Let's just call it a halt here, people. Let's just have a moment. It feels like that. So you're not necessarily packing up all your goods and running to another country, but it's like you want to change. You want something. It's like, okay, there's something that's got to change. And where the forgiveness bit comes into it, it may be possibly that one of the reasons you want to change is somebody has, how can we say, wronged you in some way, shape or form. Something's happened. And it's been like a little bit of a blot on the landscape. Like there's been some sort of incident, some sort of falling out, some sort of difference of opinion. And it's kind of saying, you know what, we almost need to let bygones be bygones. And not in that they will get away with it, but you just think about the way you carry the issue. Does it play on your mind a lot? Are you thinking about it and rolling it in your mind? And is it distracting you from what you now want to do?
It's all day. It's all day. Yeah, it is. It's all day. It's all day.
So that.
And I don't like to leave loose ends. So I kind of take more than I should in the situation. And at this point, I kind of like don't know which way I'm supposed to go. So I kind of neglect myself a lot of times. So that the other person feels more, I don't know. But it's head on. I can't say that it's head on.
And so this one is saying, okay, we come. And the forgiveness one is an interesting one because it sometimes has that connotation of giving up and giving in and letting somebody get away with it. And I say, no, do you know what? The way I think about forgiveness is like, and it's one of these spiritual sayings. And I've seen various people saying, I said that. I'm like, you probably didn't. It's probably 2000 years BC. But it's the whole thing about not to forgive. It's like drinking poison and then expecting the other person to be sick. It's like, no, it will be you. So we're now thinking, take our focus off of the other person. We're now thinking about how does carrying this affect you physically, emotionally, and mentally? And it's time to start releasing yourself from the burden of that so that you can put your mind onto thinking about where are you in your life? What is it that you want to do? Where do you want to put your energy? Where do you want to put your focus? And when half of your focus is on somebody else and what they did and what happened, it can't be on you. So it's that whole part of it is you decide. You kind of decide enough is enough, and things are going to be different around here. And you might have to consciously make a decision to put your thoughts on something else. And with regards to things like sense of direction, where are you going? What's next for you? The direction you want to take. One of the things I'm a real fan of asking questions, and I kind of almost think about it almost like asking questions of the universe, for want of a better term. And it might be as simple as, okay, what am I here to do? Or what am I here to do today? Where do I want to put my focus? What's the thing I need to pay attention to? And then I just remain open. And something, some thought, some feeling, some idea, something somebody says to you, something you read will then come in and give you a little bit of a nudge in that direction. So I would just say, if you're not clear about direction, you just start asking what's next. what's my next best step? What's the direction I can take in order for me to now move forwards? And that's the sort of thing that will happen. And the card that I picked, it says 4 of Gabriel, and it says time for celebration, abundant rewards for hard work, release yourself from burdensome situations. And it's 2 people in a garden. And so for me, I'm saying, okay, give me something now just to confirm the first 2 cards. So the first one was talking about abundance. The second one was talking about forgiving yourself. And this one is talking about abundance and releasing yourself from burdensome situations. So just in case you needed another little energetic nudge, this is it, to say that the rewards are not only there, but coming, because it sounds like you have been working hard. You have been putting in the time. You have been putting in the effort. You have been putting in the energy. And I think in order to really benefit from that, whatever this thing is, this burden, this thing that you're thinking about every day, it's time to now release that situation. You can be much more in flow and much more present for what it is that's coming next to you. So that in a nutshell is the reading, and that's kind of how. So any thoughts about that, Tina, in terms of the information and where you're at? You don't have to divulge anything too private and personal.
I think it's 100% accurate, but my biggest thing is I just don't know how to extricate myself from the current situation. The ties that we have, I just don't know how to leave it without it being so negative. Because I feel like either way, me staying in it is going to be negative. Me leaving it is going to cause some other situation to suffer. So I'm kind of stuck.
Okay.
I feel stuck. I'll put it that way. We all make choices. But I do feel stuck in the situation. I really do.
Alrighty. And I'm just looking for, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. So last week, when I was interviewed last week, I'm going to see if I can I can. Cool. So what I'm putting in here now, I've just put in a link for a blab that I did last week. Last week it was, time flies. Maybe even this week, I might even be lying. But there's a blab that I did it was about something called Hawaiian Huna. And I shared something about a forgiveness process. And you can look it up. It's called something called Ho'oponopono, or just look up the forgiveness process. And Huna is spelled Huna, but the link is there. And one of the processes in there is about cutting old links and ties and connections. So I took the people who are on that blab through like a guided meditation process. To let go of old connections. And in a nutshell, this is something completely different, but as you brought it up, in a nutshell, what you do is you think about the person or the situation. You imagine that you have, the way I describe it is you imagine you've got blades of white light coming down in front of you, behind you, to the left and to the right, above your head and below your feet. And you are cutting old energetic ties and connections. The premise is that you are connected to the people that you come into contact with. And when you are in conflict with someone, or there's a situation that no longer serves you, the premise is you cut the old ties and connections, and you're not cutting the person off. You're just saying, I'm going to cut this old situation. The premise is you cut it off with a sense of love and forgiveness and gratitude. And then what you want to do is you kind of start, I guess, taking your energy back and giving them their energy back. And it also, and I know it sounds, when you listen to, I've shared some examples of how that has worked for people. And it has, again, been that, oh my God, how did that happen? But have a listen to that one, play around with the process, and that you hold the intention that as and when you reconnect with that person, it's from a better and healthier and more ecological place and space. But I think the first thing is just deciding that you want things to be different, and you don't have to do everything in one go. You just take that first step, even if it's just about reclaiming your energy, and the rest of it will then go from there.
Which it needs to be reclaimed. For a long time, I felt like I was dying inside, like literally or even people that knew me or were just meeting me, they were like, it's just something different about you. I just carried their dark cloud around with me. Because a lot of people don't really believe in energies or that energies matter.
Yeah.
But they do. Transference is real. And it's all about what you choose to give off. And I made a conscious decision to be in this particular situation that I'm in. And it's just time to let it go. It is. It's really just, it's old, and it's just time to let it go.
Absolutely. And when you decide, and ironically, as you know, you are in the sunniest place. You're talking about dark clouds, but your background, the sun is like beaming down like angelic
I'm trying to
rays.
move away from it. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
But that's the thing. So I love the irony of it all. But the thing I would say is part of it is deciding, and then you do it. You say, okay, I'm going to let this go. And let this go might be, you know what? I'm just going to spend 5 minutes with a clear head today. 5 minutes, I'm going to put my thoughts, I'm going to put my focus, I'm going to put my attention, I'm going to put my energy on me. It could be as simple as that. And then the next day you might go, you know what, I got 6 minutes today. Let me just put 6 minutes on myself. And you do that. And then I just say to people, you know, when you think of thoughts, when you think of how you feel, one of the questions I ask is, who does that belong to? If it doesn't belong to you, I will then suggest to people they might want to play with return to sender. Send it back to the person it belongs to with love and, you know, all the rest of it. And then the person, when they energetically receive it, they can make a decision. Do they want to take that old energy on board? Do you want to dissipate it? And again, people laugh when I go, they go, really? I'm like, give it a go. Trust me. Amazing, crazy stuff will happen. And it does. But part of it is just about deciding. And when you decide, you will be amazed. It's almost like the universe then just marshals round to meet you and cool stuff happens. So decide. And don't make, and nobody else can make you decide. It's something that comes from, you just suddenly wake up one day and go, you know what, enough already. And you will know what that feels like. Cool.
It was 100% accurate. 100%.
Fantastic. Well, Tina, thank you so much for jumping in the hot.
Thank you.
Lovely to speak to you. Have a wonderful afternoon in that gloriously sunny day. We had a sunny day here today. Yay, which is unusual.
Yeah, we're going to the park today. I agree. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
You know, I think when you're on the Blab, as far as I know, it automatically sends you the recording of this, so you get to listen to it again. And if not, just find me on Facebook. It's just Marilyn Devonish. I haven't got any fancy names to it, and I'll send you the link if it doesn't automatically appear.
Okay. Thank you so much, and I send you much love. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. You have a good one.
You too. Cool. Well, that basically, in a nutshell, let me just check and see if there are any more messages. I think we are good. Just having a little scroll. Where are you from? I'm just outside of London in the United Kingdom. Yeah, I think we are all good in terms of that. Yeah, somebody had said, yeah, there we go. Hold on, just because somebody's been a bit fancy. I would say keep your messages to Blab, because that's the thing I'm looking at. But I will, because I did see something pop up on my screen that was from Messenger. So I'm just going to have a quick little nosy at that. But I'd say Blab is the easiest, so I can just look at one thing. Although I can multitask, of course. But they just said, how does it work? Hopefully now you've just seen that. How does it work when you are remote or even in a different country to your client? It just basically works the way we did it there. There are times I might do a reading by Skype. There are times I just do it by telephone. So I don't necessarily need to see the client. As you've seen, you don't necessarily need to see the cards. You know, the client picks the cards. Sometimes the clients will say to me, oh, Marilyn, you pick the cards. But if the client's picking the cards, I use exactly the process I've used there. Face down, client tells me when to stop, pick a card, read the card, and that's it. So actually, while we're doing that, let me just take a photo of that, because I will drop those cards on Facebook as well, just in case Tina wanted to have a little look at them later. Cool. So that's really, I just wanted to test out Blab. I also, you know, I love, as I said, love this topic. I get, you know, asked so many questions about it. How can it be? As you heard, and of course, I don't know Tina, we've never met, so I did not pay her to say it was 100% accurate, but that's what people always say when I do a reading for them. So I just wanted to just share a little bit about how it's done. So So, that's so sweet of you. Tina says, I'm sorry that Kathy's internet connection is not working. So am I. That would be lovely. So if there are any further questions or queries, type them in now. As they say, speak now or forever hold your peace. If anybody wanted to jump in the hot seat, again, speak now or that's it. And if there are no further questions or queries, I think I've said all I want to say tonight about the Angel Tarot and how I do it, and just to give you a little intro to that. So if there's nothing else, if there's nobody else for the hot seat, and if there are no further questions, we will bring it to a close. So I will just give you a minute to do that. And I will also just reshuffle the cards in case we are going to just do one more quick reading. So your time starts now. I think wanted to get in the hot seat. Oh yeah, there we go. Alrighty. And we tick. So here we go. I can see like the little flashing. Come on, you can do it.
Yay, I did it.
Fabulous. So hi Deborah, how are you?
Hi, good.
Oh, I love the color of your room. That is just
I know, it's crazy. So you either love it or you hate it. Yeah, there's no in between with that color.
I love it. So did you have a question?
I'm not necessarily, maybe just on starting over again with my business, and just see what you get.
Okie coke. So I've just given them a reshuffle just to make sure they go back in different places. I'm just re-spreading them out so that I can see them all.
And I might have to mute my mic because kiddos are running around. So
I'm not being fabulous. How old are they?
Oh, I have the gambit. My youngest is 4 and my oldest is 13.
You don't look old enough, honey. Wow.
Oh no, girl, my oldest is not 28, but I just
no way.
Yeah. I have 8 kids altogether. I have 4 that are grown, hallelujah, and then I have 4 that are at home.
Oh my God! You have to tell me what the hell you're eating, and I will start copying that. So, let's see. That you look amazing. That's all I can say.
Oh no, this is foundation, girl. It's all foundation.
I have no kids. My sister, when my sister had the twins, I used to need to come home to lie down after I just spent a day there.
Oh my goodness, I don't even know what I would do if I had twins. I think I'd go bananas.
Okay, so we've got the cards spread out. So again, my desk is like long. So I'm just going to run my hands along the top of the cards. And when you feel ready, you can just say stop. So anytime now, when you're ready, you can just say stop.
Stop.
Okay, it's that one. And so that's the first in terms of the issue that you're asking about. Now we're going to do it again. So again, when you feel so inclined, you can just say stop.
And stop.
That one. And then I'm going to pick one, which I like the look of you there. Right. First card, we're back to the past again. So first, this is the 3 of Michael, and the message on the card says, release the past, you will grow from this situation, and time heals all wounds. So that's what the card looks like. And it's Archangel Michael comforting a woman. She's wearing a beautiful dress. It's almost like, it's not quite nighttime, but it's kind of dark. It's sort of it's kind of like that kind of going to dusk, if you like. And so he's comforting her, and is almost kind of saying, look, whatever this thing that has happened, it will heal, it will change, it will be resolved. And like one of the things that pops into my head, you're clapping already, like, yay. And one of the things that pops into my head is better out than in. Because often I have clients who apologize if they start crying. And I'm like, what are you apologizing for? I think it would be better to get that out of your system. So I don't know if you have a particular friend or confidant. You know, you have a girlfriend, somebody you tell everything to, somebody where you can do the Oprah ugly cry and they will not judge you, they won't mind. They'll just be there for you, hand you a tissue. It
Right,
almost feels like
they'll forgive you for the ugly cry.
Exactly, because some people get freaked out by that and they don't know what to do. So it almost feels like whoever that person is for you, this will be a great time to connect with them. And it might even be that you get together and you don't even say anything. You just sit in silence. But that's enough. It almost feels like you want somebody at this point to hold the space for you, because there's stuff that's maybe been going on, and it's not stuff that's in your face every day, because it feels like you have the capacity to keep it at bay. You know, just go, not now, not now. Put it aside, put it behind you, do it, shelve that. But it's like there's maybe some old stuff that's time just to get that out of your system, whether that is just quiet time and space, or whether it's that thing where you just go blur and let it all out. But there's something about the past which it says this is the right time. It may not have been the right time previously, but this is now the right time to let that go. And this is the point where I start saying that the words that pop into my head with this one are look for the, you know, they say every cloud's got a silver lining. This is where you want to now start inviting in the silver lining. You might have to crank that process yourself, because sometimes people are sitting, waiting. I'm like, well, ask. If it's not kind of immediately coming, ask, okay, what is there to learn from this situation? What can I take from this situation? What is the benefit that I've had? And I often, it sounds weird, I often say to people, one of the best experiences I've had is when my partner, he was my fiance later, further down the line, and did it again. But when my partner cheated on me, because it revealed to me aspects of myself that I didn't even know existed. And it made me open to things I would never probably have been open to. So with hindsight, if at the time you'd come and said to me, Marilyn, it will be the best thing that ever happened, I might have wanted to punch your lights out, because I was in the moment of it. But with hindsight, when I look back, I think, oh my God, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have done that, and I wouldn't have done this, and it wouldn't have led to that, and blah, blah, blah. And I can pretty much trace my journey for the past 15 years in terms of giving up studying to be an accountant to becoming a hypnotherapist and a coach and all the stuff I do now. And I can trace it back to that moment in time. So this is almost saying there's going to be something that's happened, which even if you're not doing the happy dance at the moment and saying it's the best thing ever, when you allow yourself to look at it, when you ask, what's the benefit? What can I learn? It's like those silver linings will be revealed to you. The second card, so there's the major arcana deck, and this is card 0. And this one is called the Leap of Faith. And it's Archangel Metatron, and it says, believe in yourself, listen to your heart, and do what gives you joy. So this is almost the beginning of the major arcana journey, and that's the card there. So you've got the person who's central to it all is standing now saying, okay, I'm up again. And in this one, if you can see, I don't know if the light will allow you here, you can see the sun coming in. Whereas in the first one, I said it looked a bit murky, like we're going into dusk. This one, it's almost like the light is now shining. So, and part of this one, well, I'd say a big part of it is about that self-belief. It's about who are you? What's important to you, and what does your heart tell you to do? And I'm very much, because I did a business studies degree, then I did a postgraduate marketing diploma, and then I was going to be an accountant. So I am very, very logical and very analytical. So I definitely like that part. And then there sometimes is the time where you've done all the logic, you've done all the thinking, and now it's time to go with your heart. And when your heart takes all of those factors into account, what is it time for you to do? What's this leap of faith that you need? And back in January, 1st of January, UK time, I did an angel tarot card reading. I did it on camera, just got my little iPhone out. It's on YouTube still. And I just did a reading for the whole of 2015. The first card I picked was a leap of faith. And I said, it feels like 2015 is the year for the leap of faith. The very next day, the woman called Doreen Virtue, and this is Doreen Virtue's deck that I'm using, she put a card out for the whole year. The card she put out was a leap of faith, and saying 2015 is that. And I'm like, holy camoli, I said that 24 hours ago. But this card is kind of central to everything, Because if you don't, and the leap doesn't need to be big, it might just be one step. But if you don't take the leap, you could find yourself just sitting in the same place. And we're back to this time round, whereas we had Archangel Michael first time, this time round, we have the trusty dog, and it looks like a collie this time. So it's almost as though we're back to that trusted companion again. So if you have a trusted companion, this is almost like another reminder to say you want to connect with that person. And some people say, look, I haven't got anyone that's close to me. I haven't got anyone that I tell everything to. And I'm like, all right, then, as the card suggests, and this one, if you look at the card here, is an angel flying overhead. So if you can't immediately think about or connect to the person who'd be your trusted companion, you're on this call, so I assume there might be some little bit of a belief in angels, or however you put them.
Yeah, I had that deck, and I gave it to someone that I felt really they needed to have the deck. And you're completely right on. I work with Metatron and Michael both, and so it's hilarious to me, in a great way, hilarious that they popped up in the reading. I'm just like, it's so cute, you know. So they are the companions. They are the ones, you know. He is the companion. It's Metatron and Michael. You know, you were saying, oh, talk to a friend, blah blah blah. It's him. You know, I work with them a lot, and so I was like, these guys are so cheeky. They're just being silly, popping up in this reading. You know, because I work with them all the time, and I'm like, I want to see somebody else, but you know, they're just confirming that, you know, that I work with them. So that's awesome. I love it.
That's fantastic. I'm laughing. My friend, I'm always saying to my friends, geez, Michael must be so happy when I'm asleep, because man, do I work him. You know, I'm always like, so Michael, if you could just, you know, it's like, oh God. But it's just a reminder saying, look, call on them for whatever this thing is that, you know, that's in the past, the thing that you want to release yourself from, or the thing that maybe stops you having total belief in yourself. You want to kind of let that go. Now, you'd be pleased to know we've got somebody else for the card that I chose. We have the 10 of Ariel this time. And it says on the card, there is so very much to be grateful for: financial success and the promise of retirement, and a rich and rewarding family life. So you've got two women of color doing the ladies who lunch. You've got the kids playing in the background, and it looks like they're at the Café de Paris. So this is what that card looks like.
I love that card. That's one of my favorite cards in the deck.
Cool. And then we're back to that. We're back to this friendship thing again. It's almost like the theme throughout has been this friendship theme as well, where if it might even be that you know, with one or two friends, where when you look back, because sometimes I think back to, there's a group of us that used to go out when I was in my 20s, and when just thinking about those times just makes me smile, because we had the best time ever. And it's been a long time. I'm like 47 now. So it's kind of like if there's someone that you have that connection with and it's still relevant, because sometimes you grow apart and you evolve. This is just, it's almost like a reminder that you want one of those girls' nights out, or you want to do the ladies who lunch. You want to take the time out to just go and sit and connect with another person who gets you, because it feels like that's the theme that's been running through this as well. And when I look at them together in their entirety, it's almost as though first one was kind of a little bit darker with the kind of going into dusk. Second one, we have the light breaking through. Third one, daytime, sunshine. It's all good.
It's a story. There's a story there. So, you know, it's like 1, 2, 3. So, oh, that's very cool. I love it. Thank you.
So it is, and you know, just looking at the story, it's the whole thing. Release the past, let go of the old wounds, recognize that time will also help you with that if you allow it to, because some people can keep the old wound going forever. Just as it starts to heal, they'll go and scratch it off, and then they'll scratch it off again, and you're like, oh man, give it a chance. But once it's healed, we're back to that self-belief. You know, it might have been you, how can I say this nicely, don't take offense, it might be that you sometimes downgrade yourself, where you kind of have that little thought, oh God, I couldn't do that. Or what, me, little old me? It's that you've got to look out for. It doesn't feel like it's a big thing, but it feels like just that little voice, the thing you say to yourself, oh no, or you let somebody else take the opportunity. Oh no, you go ahead. Like you said to me, I gave the cards to someone who I thought would. That's a lovely gesture. However, if you always do that in life when opportunities come your way, I think it's this thing that the card is talking about. It's about getting your self-belief back, because you've got it, you've had it, you are it, and it's now saying it's time to reclaim it and own it. Because as soon as you do that, it almost feels like the phoenix rising from the ashes, and you can do anything that you want to do. And it's like you have the structure around you to support you in doing that. Even though you have a large family, it doesn't feel like that is something that holds you back. It's something that, how can I say? I was going to say it's something that buoys you up and that elevates you. I don't know how to put that into words, but that's what it feels like.
Right. Well, yeah, it makes perfect sense to me.
Cool. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for jumping into the hot seat and for taking the plunge. Have a wonderful afternoon, Deborah,
right.
And I may see you again
weekend.
On Blab.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Bye. Cool. And I think we have one more person that has jumped onto the Blab. So just give me 1 second to play with a little back office controls around about here. So there we go. We have Michael, who I think is going to be appearing any minute now.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fabulous, Michael. How are you?
I'm absolutely incredible. You are incredible. I've only been watching you for about 10 minutes, but you are absolutely the light of the world.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. It is lovely to speak to you.
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Are you able to understand me?
I am able to understand you. Yes, go for it.
Great. I have a lady that I'm interested in. Can you tell me if I should pursue her?
Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put these cards away and I'm going to get the romance deck, because there's a deck, let me show you. There's a deck that we have which is about romance. So I think we are going to go with those instead. And the thing I would always say to people is the tarot is about your own free will. It's not about the cards telling you what to do or me telling you what to do. It just maybe gives you a bit of guidance and insight, but ultimately you will make your own decision. Because one of the things I'm never keen on is people saying, oh, I better do this because the card said. I'm like, what do you say? What do you want to do? So that's the first thing I will say as we are shuffling. So, okay, so we're holding Michael in mind. Go for it.
There's a couple other things to be brought into the equation.
Yeah.
And money. How am I going to be doing financially in the near future?
Okay, well, we'll see if anything about money pops up in here as well. So
I need a lot of money to be able to romance her.
Okay, let's see then. And actually, you know what? Sometimes we ladies are very content with something simple. We like to have your attention and your focus. It's not necessarily always about big romance. So here we go. So what I'm going to ask you to do, Michael, my desk is quite long, and I'm going to move my hand along my desk because the cards are all now face down, so I can't see what pictures are. But when you're ready, you're going to say stop, and we're going to pick a couple of cards. So starting now, when you're ready, you just say stop, and we'll pick the first card.
Stop.
Okay, we'll have that one. Then I'm going, so this is the first card for the issue that you're asking about. Then I'm going to ask you again. When you're ready, you can say stop.
Stop.
Okay, that's that. And then I'm going to pick a card as well. I'm going to go with that one. Okay. So the first card, I'll tell you what it says, and then I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see it. This is the card that is called the Soulmate. And it says, yes, this is your soulmate. So this is the card here. Yeah, get that right.
Yeah!
It's two people in an embrace. And the thing about the soulmate is, I believe that in this lifetime, we can have many soulmates, you know, at different times in our lives, for different aspects. I have got a soulmate at the moment, but I'm heterosexual, so you know I'm interested in men. And the soulmate that I've got at the moment is a female, so we're not dating; we're just very good friends. But she is a soulmate connection for me. But in the context of romance, it's saying that this is somebody that you have a deep connection with. It's somebody that, you know, sometimes you meet someone and it feels like you've known them for a while, or you've almost met them before. It's that kind of thing, and it feels like one of those, even if it's not yet a relationship, is one of those connections where you don't even have to say that much. You can just be in each other's company, and it just feels good. So it's almost as though, and sometimes a soulmate connection will last forever, and there'll be other times where you come together, you get whatever you need to get for each other, you grow, you learn, and then you go off again. But it's saying in this moment, there is a connection there between the two of you, which goes something beyond the, oh, yeah, we've just got a lot in common. So that's the first card. The second card, it's called Attraction. And it says you attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. And the picture on the card is a woman who is just smelling the roses.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when I said to you about, and I was being slightly tongue, but I'm serious. This is about sometimes the simple things in life where somebody says, look, just stop and smell the roses. So I was saying when I was shuffling the cards, and I just speak for myself, for me, it's not always about big romance, going to some fancy hotel and having, I don't even drink, you know, but having fancy bottles of champagne. Sometimes I just like to be with someone who pays attention to me, with someone who is interested in me as a human being and what I say. And I actually have been on a date where we went to a little, how can I say, a sandwich bar. We went to a sandwich bar, and the sandwiches are like, we're in England, so it's pounds. The sandwiches are like £3 a pop. But it was a great date because we were just sat, just talking and connecting. And so this card is a reminder that it's very much about paying attention. It's about that sense of connection. It's about that sense of attraction. It's about that sense of being present, which is the whole thing about enjoying the moment, smelling the roses. It's not about all of the other big fancy things that people would put into romance. So this is one that's saying the attraction is there, and the way that you get more of the attraction is to enjoying the moment. And this also means being present to yourself. It's lovely to think about what the other person wants, but you also want to think about what do you want. So that it's like it's a two-way street. And the card that I picked, it says heart-to-heart conversations. And it says honestly discuss your feelings with each other. So that's it there. We're two people having a conversation. And with this one, and I'd say male and female, but it doesn't have to be that gender. But in this one, the way it presents itself is the male is looking away and the female is trying to have the conversation. But you've got Cupid on your side. So this one is saying that, and it doesn't have to, if you're very in the very early stages, this isn't the point where you suddenly rush in going, it's not that, but this is saying at some point, you want to have that conversation. You want to ask, you know, how do you feel about me? You want to say how you feel about them. You want to ask, you know, what's our next step? It doesn't have to be talking about the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, but you're almost just asking, do you want to commit? Do we want to go forwards together? Do we want to explore what this is all about? And so this is encouraging you to have that honest conversation. I get a sense the first conversation you're going to have is with yourself, where you're saying, what do I want? What's important to me? What am I looking for? And once you've got clarity about that, you can then see, is the person that you're interested in, do they want similar things? Do they have those characteristics that you're looking for? Do they have the things that pique that sense of attraction? And if yes, you're going to move forwards. And if you kind of, because sometimes you just kind of go, actually, you know what? It was great. I had the rush of excitement, but now I've settled down. It's not for me. And other times you go, no, actually, even though the rush of that initial excitement isn't there, it's still for me. So this is that one that's saying, yes, the connection is there. Yes, the attraction is there. The next phase in terms of moving it forwards is then saying, okay, let's have a conversation and let's see where we go.
Okay.
Fantastic. And don't, do some simple things, do some lovely thoughtful things before you think about big money things. I would say this is that one that's just reminding you that sometimes it's those simple, thoughtful, lovely things that count a lot more than something flashy.
Like a coffee date.
Yes.
Coffee is maybe too much.
No, a lovely, and you might even find out if there's something in particular she really likes, like she might like, I don't know, sitting in the park, for instance. And so you might find a lovely place that looks out onto a park and you do that. So I just, it's what does that person like? What do they enjoy? And hopefully you enjoy it too. And then going from there, and have it, because that's where you're really going to be able to connect when you haven't got big distractions around you, which is that attraction card. Wonderful. Well, Michael, good luck with it all. Fingers crossed.
I'm told.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
You are incredible.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You have a great weekend too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Joy.
Bye. Oh, woo. Okay, that was very cool. Somebody says, what, 47 and about 20 question marks. Hopefully that means I look gorgeous for my age and not like, geez, that's woman is out. Right, so I'm just going to double check and just see if there are any more questions. I don't think we got I'm just having a little look just to make sure I haven't missed anyone. Thank you. Somebody says I look great. We got that one. Me too. I don't understand why I can't hear or see clearly. I don't get that either. That's very weird. Let's see. No, I think we are all good in terms of the questions, having scrolled through everything. Here we go. There we go. Alrighty. So I think we're cool. All right, then. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me for my first independent blab. If I'm doing another one. It's about something completely different on Tuesday. I'm doing one around pitching and presenting. So for people who have to get out there and do public speaking, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're going out pitching your business or pitching for investment or going for awards and things like TechCrunch, we're going to be talking about that because I do some coaching with new startups and entrepreneurs. So that's this coming Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. UK time. This has been kind of cool and kind of fun. So I'll probably do another one of these at some stage where, people jump in the hot seat. We do some readings. I just want to say thank you so much if you joined me live. Thank you so much if you just sat through and watched the recording. If there are any other questions or queries or anything else you think about, look me up on Twitter or Facebook. It's just / Marilyn Devonish, MARILYN, surname DEV for Victor, ONISH. And my website is www.transformationstm.com. And that's trance as in hypnotic trance, TRANCE. FORMATIONS, TM as in trademark. So transformationstm.com. I wonder if you can see that. No, it's not the clearest thing on the planet. But transformationstm.com, look me up. There's a free resources page with some of the stuff I've mentioned about the HUNA and all the rest of it. There are some MP3 recordings that you can download. You just need to put a valid email address in, and then it will send you a login password. It's free of charge. So just thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for that's cool. Kathy, I don't know what was going on there, but I'm glad you found it interesting. Thank you so much. I will see you again. Keep an eye on my Blab channel, if that's what you call it. And when I do another one, I'll throw it out on Facebook. This was just really impromptu. I decided like 40 minutes before the call to do it, so there was no build up. So but I will give you more notice maybe next time. So thank you all. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to connecting with you all next time. Thank you and good night.